I'm not talking about you and what Jesus thinks of you and how he really respects your soul and how the right man will love me for who I am. And no.
Welcome
to the J&O Show.
We talk about
things that we would never told them, Jay.
And I'm O.
And now you know.
This is back and forth action at its best.
Most women in culture are looking for a man that can take care of them. Ain't that what you're supposed to do? No, he's supposed to love you enough to want to take care of you. Be the kind of woman he cannot live without giving to. Every time I see him, he giving me something. I don't know what's up with him. He loves me. That's what kind of woman you should be. And you don't need sex to do it. You close your legs, you open his heart. Some of y'all use your body because you ain't got no intellect. You ain't got nothing else but hips and lips. Girl, you can either step like, boy, are you crazy? I got an anointing on my life. I got power on my life. I can pray you out of depression. Don't play with me. I'm more than hips and lips. Every woman in here scream, I'm more than that.
He right. We wilding out here when it comes to that. You know, just because most people don't do it, we feel like we should no longer say that you should save it. Just because most people just don't ever get past that. That's fine. But it doesn't mean that you just stop saying it and just be like, it's just okay for us to be out here wilding out. Like all of the issues that we have had from premarital sex, from this crazy rate of single moms, especially in our community, where 70% of them are single. And then you look at the statistics for single moms, and we feel that we can afford to just be like, because most of us ain't gonna make it to marriage a virgin. We shouldn't even talk about it anymore. We shouldn't even, because it's not realistic, right? But yet, all of the stats are telling us that that's a really bad idea. Like, no, still say it. Still say it. Yeah, we may all fall short, but no, we don't just act like it don't exist or act like it's not an issue. Ladies, especially ladies, if you out here just tossing
Thank you. I appreciate that.
to every guy that you think might be the one, and then the understanding of guys being like, we all want women with low body counts. You can't do both.
It's one or the other.
When you do that, I don't care what anybody has told you. You are cheapening your value to men. I'm not talking about you and what Jesus thinks of you and how he really respects your soul and how the right man will love me for who I am. And no, for the majority of men, your body count matters. Number one, because of the
emotional damage
that going through all of these guys and not actually getting with them and relationships falling apart and all of that other stuff, all the damage it does to you is intensified if you've had sex with them. And number two, nobody wants to walk around and be seeing a bunch of dudes that you slept with before. You know, they have this thing. Well, it's not my fault he insecure. It ain't got nothing to do with our insecurities, boo-boo. It's what we do and don't like. It's just like you ain't okay rolling around with a broke man. You insecure because he broke. It ain't got nothing to do with insecurity. It's what we do and don't want. And nobody wants that extra drama in their life. Not for my long term. That's why I ended up, and I didn't even think about it when I was young. Yo, when I tell you, I wasn't thinking. Yo, I was one of those people that was like, the body count doesn't matter as long as you know, long as you love me. But when I knew a woman had a high body count, no matter how cute she was, I was like, nah. I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm just be honest. It was like literally instinctual. And I ended up marrying a woman where I was the only person she had ever been with. So you can say what you want to about it, but whether it's instinct or society or y'all feel oppressed, whatever it is that you're going through in your life and in your situation regarding how men view sex and women, sorry, sis.
It makes a difference. And you know what's crazy? It's like there's so much evidence out there. Like if people would just stop and actually think about it. Like, so we've talked about this show before. Is it Love is Blind? No, it's Married at First Sight.
I said we're watching both at the same time.
Yeah,
that's
we're watching
both.
We be watching all these shows. We be watching. That's not proper English. But y'all understand what I'm saying.
Y'all only knew how much of the stuff that we see play out in those shows right in front of our face. It's like retarded. So much of it plays out. We did a video with a single mom who was basically talking about
yeah, she hates motherhood or what have you. It was basically a vent session. I felt for the sister. I grew up in a single parent home, so I understand the struggle is real. Okay. And there are comments that were made about feminism. It was two different points, two different comments specifically. One was, it was basically talking about feminism and whether or not it's a bad thing. Which was one. And just to sum it up, the idea of feminism, the way it came about, no, that is not a bad thing, because women wanted equal rights. Women wanted to be able to work, to be able to have a say. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't misunderstand. We are talking about what feminism is right now in the US of A. I can't speak for no other country, but what it is right now is toxic. It's not what it started out to be. So whenever you hear us talking about feminism, we're talking about what it is right now within this country. It has metamorphed into something far left from what it started out to be. And what it is right now is not conducive to a healthy relationship, let alone marriage. And so you can't have productive communities or societies with that type of mental thought process. But we'll go into that in another video more in depth later. But getting back to the point about the Married at First Sight episode, there's this one particular couple, the only couple that seems like they're going to make it this season. I forget their names. She thinks, and I appreciate that, because she understands that she has damage. All of us have damage in one way, shape, or form. But she understands the damage that she has and how it's carrying over into her relationship, her marriage now. And the damage that she had from her previous relationships had to do with sex. And people, I don't know why, but people seem to think that you can have sex with somebody and you can leave them and that doesn't affect you. There is something called pair bonding that happens. It was put there for a reason. It's designed to be there to be able to help you connect. So when you connecting with all these different people that you do not settle down with, that they do not ultimately become your husband or your wife, because this goes for men too, even though they might try to put it out there like, it doesn't matter. It surely does make a difference because it affects men as well too. The
very same study that they always reference, it says that it affects men too. It's just less effective, that it affects men less than it does women, but it does affect us as well. And their whole argument, what they're talking about when they're saying that you need to do this so that women can't take advantage of you, is actually pouring into the fact that pair bonding happens for men too. It actually proves it. But go ahead.
So like you are making these connections. You are literally giving yourself to someone. And you're leaving a part of yourself with that person that you have to deal with, whether it was a positive experience or a negative experience with the relationship in its totality. Lord forbid if it was a negative experience, which in her situation, it seems as though she had several. And she's coming to the realization now in her marriage, and she's just like, yo, I met this great guy, you know, but I'm messed up. I got a lot of issues that I have to figure out, I have to deal with, because this guy doesn't deserve that, you know, and vice versa, because there's another couple in there as well too. Eris and Jasmine, or what have you. It's the reverse. It's the guy. He got a lot of damage too, you know, that he's bringing in, and it's just jacking up their whole situation. But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, we need to stop lying to ourselves and thinking that the body count for women and for men, it doesn't matter, because they do. And statistics show it. Heck, your relationships show it. That's why you're having so much drama in your relationships. If you really sit down and think about where these things are coming from, the insecurities or whatever the case may be, it oftentimes has to do with that. I forgot where we were before all that, before I said that.
Be the type of woman that a man wants to do things for. Because he was talking about society now, every woman wants a guy basically who provides. And that's not now. It's always been that way. But I think the problem is that now it's gotten to the point where everybody, because of social media, mostly believes that they should have a 10% guy. I'm rich! And that's the issue. I don't believe, like many of the manosphere are saying, they're talking about all of these stats about men not having sex and stuff like that. I don't believe that it's as severe as they're making it out to be.
What you mean?
One of the arguments that a lot of people put out there is that men are basically not having sex. Like there's a small percentage of men having sex with all the women. 25% of marriages are sexless. I can't remember. She done messed me all up with all of the stats and stuff. But cause then there's a certain percentage of men, and because I think that one is like 1/3 of all men haven't had sex in the last 2 years or something like that. And I'm like, and I was just like, are they married? Like, that was my first thing. I was like, are they married? Okay, they shouldn't be having sex then. They need to go on and figure their situation out.
Yeah.
Like, fix their life and get them a wife so they can have a good one. They need to go and get a good one. So, I mean, they need to be sexless right now. I don't understand what we talk about. The narrative is that men are not having sex and all of the women are having sex with this small percentage of hyper successful men. And that then proves the whole idea of you as a man need to go and be hyper successful. Look, 85% of the dudes ain't going to be hyper successful because if everybody that are watching these manosphere videos were to be able to accomplish getting into that top 15%, it would start to skew things, and then the bar would be raised, and it would no longer be high value to have $100,000 a year. It then becomes $150,000. First of all, it's just not going to happen. So many people are dealing with damage and with the idea that they can't, and trying to get over that. Many men will just never get past that. Damn. And then what it is you do and what you love to do is going to dictate a lot about the amount of money you make. I mean, it's just not feasible to think that men are going to go and all of a sudden start making this large amount of money. There's going to be a small amount of people, even in all of those red pill conversations and all of the fans of all of these guys, there's going to be a small amount of your fans that's actually going to do what it is you're saying to do.
Right.
So the other 99% of them that you're talking to saying you're trash if you don't make this, 99% of your audience is trash. Because most of them are not going to be able to do it. It just is. And then if you find something that you love to do and it just doesn't happen to pay $150,000, $200,000 a year, should you stop and go work a job you hate so you can get $150,000 a year? I know several guys who make that amount of money and left the job because the stress wasn't worth it. They were pulling their family apart at the seams. They were destroying their whole lives just to make this buck. It is not worth it. And we need to stop acting like it is.
Facts.
I'm going to tell you right now, finding my purpose and getting on track with that was the best thing that ever happened in my life. I left something that was going to make and net me a certain amount of money, guaranteed, set up for me. And I walked away from it because I would have been miserable. Just in getting to that point, I was thinking about driving myself off the road and taking myself out. It isn't worth it. So if it ain't in line with your purpose, and if it doesn't give you that sense of fulfillment,
difference between depression and joy. I think it's purpose.
You can't just do it because it makes a lot of money. Yeah, it sounds great, but that ain't real life. And we need to stop acting like everybody need to make all this money. Everybody's about getting it. There are a certain amount of people in this world, both men and women, who are hustlers, who are always going to be like that. We need to stop acting like we all need to be like them, because we don't. Especially when a whole chunk of them end up being miserable at the end of it anyway. Like, how much does that make any sense?
Facts.
Anyway,
Yeah. So, sorry, we went off on a tangent, but y'all should be familiar with that by now. You've been rocking with us.
There's so much he said that I wanted to get into. We got into like 2 things, but whatever.
But yeah, no, basically bottom line, like Tye said, shout out to Tye Tribbett. Oh, BTW, we went to go see him in Charlotte 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a crazy good concert. We've been on the high for that for like a week, bro.
Man,
it's crazy.
We've been like Tye Tribbett all throughout the house, like all day, every day.
Blasting it. Walking around, we jumping all over the house. Our kids is loving it though. They're like, yeah, Dad, yeah. They loving it, so it's like whatever.
For real, we just need to be real with ourselves and like take a hard look in the mirror and ask ourselves certain questions as, why are we here? Why are we in the situation that we're in? And we need to take accountability, because you can't really blame anybody else but yourself. Like, once you get to a certain age, yes, you may not have been dealt the best hand in life. Once you get to a certain age, there's things that you can do to try to do better for yourself. Yeah. But I think that's going to be it for today's video. Comment down below and let us know what you guys think. If you do like these type of videos, consider checking out one of these other videos here.
It's going to be somewhere on there.
It's around.
Right, because it's going to be like a playlist over here.
It might be on my face. It might be right here.
It's going to be there. But it's all right, y'all. All right. I didn't even get to say what I wanted to say after seeing the short, but whatever. That's how we do. Press the out button.